All right. Welcome everybody to the evening plenary of day 2 of World Unity Week. This is a day dedicated to the frequency of empowerment, and we really are so excited about today's program. It's something that we have been looking forward to over the last few months as we build up to World Unity Week 2023, New Earth Rising. And we just knew we wanted to reach out and get the voices of youth and get the voices from around the world to come and share about what youth leaders are seeing and what youth leaders are feeling and experiencing. What are their dreams and hopes and aspirations? And also, how can we, as the older generations, best support them and best nurture them? And not only do we have some amazing youth to showcase, but we also have some incredible mentors who are with the youth, who are going to be really modeling the dynamic of empowerment and passing the torch to the next generation. I'll just go quickly to the 3 groups, and then we're gonna cross live to LA. We're really excited. But to start off with, we're going to hear from Georgia Van Kylenberg, her amazing platforms, Arts Bridging the Gap, live in LA. After that, after the LA, we're going to go to St. Louis and the amazing Dr. Marty K. Casey and the Ungun Institute. And she's got some young leaders who are having a huge impact in the work of Ungun in St. Louis and around America and around the world. And then we'll go to Tezekiah Gabriel from Pathways to Peace, who's got amazing youth leaders to introduce us to as well. So right across the spectrum here, we're going to be enjoying and appreciating this conversation. It is interactive. If you're in the Zoom at different points, you'll be able to put your hand up and make a comment or make a question. So really, without further ado, we got connected to Georgia Van Kylenberg through Purpose Earth, as we have been connected to so many. And ever since then, Georgia, we've been doing a bunch of different projects together. We crossed yesterday during the World Unity Week opening ceremony to see your amazing Art Takes Flight program. And you had a whole bunch of youth there painting the plane and beautifying his Learjet, which was amazing. So now you've got some youth that you work with and that are part of your program live with you in your beautiful living room in Los Angeles. So Georgia and to everybody there in LA, guys, welcome, and over to you.
Hi, Ben. This is so fun. I've got some of my favorite people joining me today, so I just feel very lucky. I guess I'll do a quick introduction for you all. I'm so grateful for you all joining. I've been watching people logging in, and I'm just going to turn us down a little bit so we don't get any echo right now. But one of the really important and magical things is that so many of you are tuning in to learn and listen from the leaders of, I think, our present, but also our future. And we're going to have Cruz joining us any second. Come on in. Perfect timing. Quickly about where I do most of my work is through Arts Bridging the Gap here in LA. And we use arts education and high-level arts experiences to help young people heal their trauma, to express themselves, to experience what makes them who they are. And so often young people don't get a chance to experience that. And I think also so many young people don't get given resources or opportunities or a sense of confidence that they can do everything that they're capable of. And so we endeavor to do that in our world. But I think also part of why I'm sitting on this couch today with Ani and Cruz, come and sit down. My young people is, you can sit right there. That's perfect. Is that honestly, oh, okay, he's going to be on the couch. Okay, perfect. Yeah, come on in. All right. I love it.
Late to the party.
Even closer. Hi. Congrats on your shoot today.
Nice to meet you.
To finish that thought up, part of why I get to sit on the couch today is, I mean, we all have a purpose in life, Purpose Earth being, you know, a testimony to that. And for me, mine is young people. I think what's funny about what you said earlier, Ben, is that we are the mentors. And I think a lot of us never feel like we stopped being youth. And sometimes it's hard for me to get my head around the fact that I'm no longer a youth. But I think being able to take our lives and say it's now time for us to use what we've learned and what we've experienced and give that to young people and say, like, I'm here for you, and I want to do anything I can to make sure that your world is everything that you could wish it to be. And nothing makes me happier to do that. So when Ben and I started imagining today, it was about putting the thoughts and the words and the power in the good way in the hands of young people. So I have two of them here today with me in LA, and I'm excited to connect with the young people over in St. Louis and around the world. I'm so glad there's a third group. That's so fun. So if it's okay with you, we might get started. And the format is kind of a equal sharing across all three, and then seeing where we find our moments of connection. So I might start off with we thought it might be interesting to hear just one thing that you think is an important part as a sense of introduction to your identity. Like, what is a story? What is a part of your world that you think is important for people to know? And because Anais has been prepared with that question, she can go first.
Yeah.
Cruz came off a shoot today, which is kind of amazing. At the last minute, he got a job. He's an actor. So I'm so glad that his mom could bring us now and have him join us at the last minute. So Ani, if you want to start with maybe an introduction of who you are and something that makes you unique and special in your own way.
So that's my name.
Yeah.
All right, so my name is Anais Jimenez. I'm 17 years old, and I come from immigrant parents. They both came from Oaxaca in 1999. So I see something unique about me is that all my motivation, inspiration, all my love and happiness comes from my parents, because all the struggles they've been through. So they really push me, and I just really want to make them happy. So yeah, so all my motivation just comes from them.
Beautiful. Thank you. Cruz, do you want to, I'm going to throw you in.
Throw me in under the bus. My name is Zola Cruz, and I feel one thing that's a big, something that screams me is definitely my parents too. Because, parents are parents and have been there for us through our whole life, taking care of us. And I don't feel like we appreciate that enough once we grow up. And I do, or at least I feel I do, but I feel like many people take that for granted. And I know I want to make my parents proud, make them happy, have fun together. And another thing that screams me is I want to be a winner. Everything I do, I want to go in 100%, win it, go big or go home.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump in and just share something that's extra special about you and your journey, especially because, for me, Anais, the thing that she wants to become an immigration lawyer. And I think that's such a super cool thing that I've known you from being little and watching your parents' journey. And now you want to help others in their journey of similar through your empathy, your deep empathy. And I think also for you, Cruz or Zola Cruz, whichever, are you Zola? Are you Cruz? Are you both? It's a wonderful identity. Is that you came from Uganda? And how many? Was it 3 years ago now? Coming up
four and a half, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've created a whole new life for yourself.
Oh yeah, that was a hard restart. Actually, how did I forget that? It was a hard restart, resetting life, basically. Move. I had to get used to smaller spaces. Back home, we used to have a big football pitch, basketball, and all that. And I would never spend a day bored. And, when we moved here, it's just been more smaller space, finding new friends and, culture shock kind of ish. And, just restarting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You've done a good job of it, I got to tell you.
Thank you.
So we're going to jump in with our 3 questions. Anais and I worked on these earlier. They came from her. That was parted today. You would have got to, but we didn't get to have you before. So just know that we were thinking of you and what you might want to ask. And these are going to be your 3 questions to just throw out some quick answers because we're limited in our time. Unfortunately, if I had my way, the whole week would just be you two. But I think let's answer these questions just with a thought. And then we'll throw these questions out to the other youth in the other parts of the world that we're talking to today. So the first question, what will the leaders of our future need to be like?
Go first.
So I think the leaders have to be very empathetic and they have to see like both sides of the story. Like you can't just focus on one part because there's always like two sides to each story. Also open-minded, very open-minded and eager to learn new things because you can't move forward without learning, So I think they have to be open-minded, open to learn new things, and just very empathetic. So yeah.
This is why I wanted them to run the whole week. Okay.
All right. I'm going to speak in terms of Generation Z, of my generation. I feel like we need to learn, our futures will need to be stronger than we are today. And, know when to say no and know when to say yes. Because I feel like right now, our generation gets pushed around sort of easily by our fellow generation members. So I feel like our generation will need to definitely, be more stronger on yes and no's, but still be empathetic and know when to add that in and just see both sides of the story and can literally put yourself in the other shoes and try to be a mediator, see it from a third person point of view. What would someone else think if they saw what was, going on, and really just get aspects of the whole point of view, whole 360.
I love it.
Yeah.
So interesting, right? That concept of being able to know your self-worth boundaries. That's something that so few of us are taught when we're young, is to take care of yourself within the work that you do. And I think that is such an important piece of information that every young person should have the class in self-love somewhere in 5th grade or something. Beautiful. Next question. If we don't create real change, where do you see this world being in 10 years?
I would say I don't see it going on the right path if we don't create change in 10 years or create change now, because we're already not going down the right path as of now. So if we don't do anything to change it, I just don't think anything will get better. I'm talking the sense of climate change. I just think the world will not get better if we don't do anything when it comes to climate change. I think it'll just all get really worse. But that's why we have to create change. So everything gets better.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
We need to start change right now. We claim we're going to do change and then it never really happens. So I feel like we need to start really getting down to the actual business that we claim we're going to do. Actions speak louder than words. But in 10 years, if we don't fix up on even simple things every day, just being more considerate and just processing things more before we do something or say something more. Just it starts from there, and then that habit of being more considerate. If someone walked up to me, smile back. I could have probably made their day, And if you build a good habit like that, it will build on. You'll be more responsible naturally, and it will just sort of build good habits for you. And if you build good habits, you probably have people that look up to you. They're probably going to pick up on your good habits, and it's just follows on along. So we need to start on that now.
Yes, my heart is bursting with love for you both. The little things are so big, and that's all we need, really, if we all just took those little steps.
Big painting is really just small strokes of the brush, done and done over again to create a beautiful masterpiece. So
what he said. What he said. Okay, the third question. Sometimes it is hard to get older / other people to understand the problems in the world. What can we do to overcome those challenges?
I would say just making the problems we have, what's the word I'm trying to find? Making it a big deal. We need to make everything such a big deal. Make it over dramatic, because that's what it is. All these problems in the world we have to let people know what's going on. Because if we don't know, if we don't tell them what's going on, they won't know. I guess just teaming up with other people, I would say I don't know, just talk, just spreading the word so everyone understand what's going on.
Yeah. I think just to jump in, I'm not a big fan of anger as a concept because I think it replaces pain and sadness but passion, not anger, but like that sense of urgency, passion, numbers of people speaking up. I think that feels right in what you're saying.
I think passion is the main emotion of life, to be honest, because with passion, if you really are passionate about something, you're going to feel all emotions in that and controlled emotions though. But back to the question, I do feel like we have to really emphasize, like she said, emphasize things and try changing perspective to get people to really understand what we mean. Because there's some people that maybe not understand, like they don't understand what and how exactly big this issue is until we change it into perspective that they could understand, like not just one-way thing or a two-way thing, like really help them understand the issue and emphasize it. Because there's big issues in the world, but if we don't make them big issues, they're not going to be big issues, but they are. So
such a powerful thing you said within there of all the powerful things is it's no good trying to communicate it the way you understand it if they don't. Right. And that's such a beautiful part of empathy is to not only put yourself in someone else's shoes, but listen from their perspective and be able to talk to them. So often we tell people what we think, thinking that should be enough. So good. Okay. We're going to ask St. Louis to join us so that we can turn to Marty and her team of young leaders and basically hopefully recreate the same situation over there.
Wow. Well, first of all, how impressive, Georgia. It's so good to be here with you and your dynamic youth. And I'm excited to have three of my youth leaders here today. I have Joseph, and I have Deja, and I have Amani. And so I'm going to show them real quick. That is Amani. Amani is 23, and Amani is going to be speaking on behalf of her being ungunned personally. And I also have Joseph. If you come into the frame here, Joseph, I have let's get you on this other side here. We're sorry. We don't have a big camera crew here with us today. So let me see, this way. Which way do we need to go? No. There we go. That way. Okay, here we go. We're going to do it like this. We have Joseph. Joseph turned 23 yesterday, and he is a father for the first time. So he's celebrating Father's Day today, and his little baby is here at the house, and you're going to be hearing from him. And Joseph is actually one of my first youth that I worked with that I ungunned, but it was through my nonprofit, Show Me Arts Academy. But Joseph is still with me today, and you'll understand why when we get to speaking about what ungun is and how it works. Then I also have with me Deja. Yes. And Deja is actually 19, and she is one of the youth that I have worked with in the schools. I am the first African-American woman to have an anti-gun violence program in the St. Louis public schools. Unfortunately, after a shooting occurred back in November of 2022, where a teacher's life was lost along with a student, and it was a prior student who actually returned to the school to actually commit the crime. And so Ungun Institute, we are truly a trauma response organization and company that is really shining the light, if you will, on individuals' trauma, because we understand that hurt people, healed people heal people. So we grew up hearing that first part of the hurt people, but where was the solution? So I added the solution of healed people heal people, and that is how Ungun Institute was birthed. After the unrest of Ferguson, I could truly tell that there were many youth, not just in the Florissant area or even in the St. Louis area, but around the world was impacted by that particular event of the unfortunate death of Michael Brown. And my goal was to gather as many students or many youth as I possibly could to give them a different a different perspective of using their voices for good by tapping into the arts through music and dance and DJ engineering and theater and you name it. And I was able to raise money to take these youth to Washington, D.C., New Jersey, and New York so that they could perform and be empowered through their own voices. The first person that I'm going to have to come up and speak to you is going to be Joseph. And Joseph is going to share with you a little bit of his backstory. All three of them will share their backstories. It's going to sound a little bit different than what you've just heard. So I want to make sure that everyone is prepared to hear some really hardcore things, if you will, because if we're going to get to the bottom of what these youth need, we have to really understand what the youth have actually experienced. And we have to hear it from their perspective and their understanding emotionally. So at this time, I'm going to have you switch, Deja. I'm going to have Joseph come right there and you go around. And Joseph, if you can go ahead and share a little bit of your backstory.
All righty.
Oh, we can't hear.
We lost sound there, Marty.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, hello, my name is Joseph Davis. I am currently 23 years old, but when I first started working with Dr. Marty, it was actually, I believe I was a sophomore in high school. And I was basically inside the arts. I did a lot of participating in different theater. I was basically inside the theater world. I did a lot of performing. I did a lot of singing and things like that. And I actually met Dr. Marty competing in a competition. And we kind of went past and, kind of met each other and everything like that. And, we had some really positive words to speak about each other. Fast forward, I ended up, maybe some months after that, I ended up getting into a car crash that was fatal for one person. And it was extremely traumatizing for the other three passengers that were inside the car crash as well, because they sustained a lot of different injuries and everything of that nature. And I lost all feeling and hope of wanting to be a part of the things that I was really, really passionate about at first. I felt a lot of guilt. I felt as if there was something that I could have changed or done different to possibly keep us from going down that road that day, or, stopping them from speeding that day, or, just something that I could have done to prevent it. So I kind of blamed myself for a lot of the things that happened in that situation. But I believe when Dr. Marty reached out to me and she reached out to my family, and we were able to basically be a part of Show Me Arts Academy, and we were able to start expressing ourselves, or at least myself, I was able to express myself through the arts. It made me fall in love again with everything that I eventually kind of lost grasp of. And I till this day, I still have a very, very strong passion for music. I still have a very, very strong passion for media and all around anything that has anything to do with the arts. I am well versed in. So I really, really, yeah, that's kind of like my backstory as far as working with Dr. Marty. And yeah.
So do you feel like it healed you?
I do. I think like I said, I think the biggest part with me was just the guilt. It felt like I was, it's almost as if I felt as if I lost control that day, because something happened that was completely out of my control. So much so that once I was able to tap back into the arts and I was able to tap back into my singing and playing the piano and things like that, it almost felt as if I was reassuming control of my life and the things that I was really, really into.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Joseph. And I'm sure we're going to have a chance to come back to Joseph to answer some questions. I'm going to now introduce you to Amani, who is also 23. And Amani has personally experienced being ungunned.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amani Holmes, and I am 23 years old. I met Dr. Marty earlier this year at a time where it was a high. She called me in the midst of being very angry. I was at my utmost high, and I definitely did not want to speak with her, as she mentioned. When she originally called me, I told her, ma'am, I do not want to speak to you. I am not in the place to be in a therapy session at the moment. But as I as I walked around on the phone with her and just unraveled everything that was going on emotionally, mentally, I was able to regroup myself and really understand what is the root of all of my pain, what is the root of my hurt, and ungun myself. So that's my story.
What art process do you use to help to stay ungunned?
I like to listen to music, and I also like to journal. Those are the two ways that I like to release, and I like to act as well. I was in theater in high school, and I also pursued it in college. And being able to put myself in a character's shoes who is similar to my experience, it really helped me to think thoroughly about how I can better myself and how I can better communicate how I feel.
Would you recommend ungunned to others?
Yes, I would. Definitely.
Now you would.
Yes, now I would.
Now
yes.
she would. At first, not so much. And then last, I would like to introduce you to Deja. Deja is 19, and had an opportunity to meet Deja in one of the schools, who also had a very similar experience to Amani, where she didn't want to have no parts of Dr. Marty and ungunned, but then you'll hear what happened.
Hi, my name is Deja. I'm 19. I was about 15. I had got shot in the front of my house with my mom. It was a lot. It was a lot of going on at the time. I was pregnant. I was 9 months. I got shot 5 times. I had to be rushed to the hospital. I lost my mom on a Friday. I got shot on a Wednesday. It was a lot of trauma during that time because all I thought about when I lost my mom was, I don't need nobody, wasn't in this and that. Everything was going in one ear, coming out the other. And when I lost my mama and school started back, I was still pregnant at the time. I had to go back with a lot of anger because it wasn't nobody there for me. Since then, when I was in school, my freshman year, I used to fight a lot. And from my freshman to my senior year, I fought. It was a lot going on through those past 4 years. From losing my mom to almost not graduating, to almost not going to prom because of fighting and anger and just not being a lot. It's just like, it wasn't nobody there for me. And so then when I lost my mom, I just had a lot going on. I didn't want to talk to nobody. That's when Dr. Marty had came in. And boy, I tell you, Dr. Marty changed my life. I highly recommend her 10 out of 10 to anybody. I'm telling you, she will tell you the truth. Nothing holding back. I really can say she changed my life because fighting was not for me. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to do a lot of things. I really want to be somebody in life. I want to go places, travel, take my baby around. But sitting her with Dr. Marty is a good experience, having a lot going on now.
And what is the one thing that you learned to do? What has helped you?
Stop, breathe, and think. I learned that. I had to do that a lot.
So thank you, Deja. Thank you, Amani, and thank you, Joseph. As you can truly hear, is that the youth here in St. Louis, like most of us, we all have experienced some form of trauma. I don't think there's anyone that's exempt without trauma. But what is connected with these youth, they didn't have a way of dealing with it. And so you don't always have a therapist available to you or able to go see a trauma doctor. But through Ungun Institute, we have been able to reach the youth in ways and places where they have not been able to be reached before. And what I am truly blessed by is that this could be 3 young people right now that could have fallen through the cracks because of their trauma, but instead they have been blossoming and growing like a bouquet of flowers. Joseph has a child, Deja has a child, and trauma is transferable, and so is healing. So we're happy to know that their trauma is not being transferred to their children now, but now their healing is. I'm Dr. Marty with Ungun Institute in St. Louis, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to be here today.
Amazing. Can you hear me, Marty?
I can.
Amazing. I just started typing in the questions. We'd love to hear and thank you to all 3 of you for sharing your honest stories. And it just means so much to us. So thank you that
Absolutely.
You're willing to be vulnerable like that. That's how we create a new future, I think, is through being honest about where we've come from, like you said, Marty. So we would love to hear from you 3, if you don't mind. The first question is, what will the leaders of our future need to be like? We'd be curious to hear what you have to say.
Okay, and so my question to you, Georgia, because we may not have time to answer all 3 questions, which question would you like for my group to answer so that we can make room for the 3rd group that has taken time to be here today?
I love your mindfulness, Marty. Not my decision to make, I think. I'm going to turn it over to which of the 3 questions would you most like to hear?
Or would you like for them, would you like them to answer 1 each?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. Good choice. I love that. That's what we call getting.
So go ahead with the
1.5
first question,
cookies.
fire away.
Okay, so the first question for whoever wants to take it is, what will the leaders of our future need to be like?
All right, I'm going to start with Deja. Deja, because I was a leader coming into your school and you didn't have anyone before that. So the question is easy. What do the leaders need to be like in order to help someone like you in the future?
I would say anybody. It could be anybody. You never know. You can run into, I'm trying to think. You can run into a homeless man. You never know. He can bless your day just by looking at you or saying, hey, hi. I could be a blessing. My baby could be a blessing. Dr. Marty, Joseph, anybody can be a blessing to you because you never know. God gonna always surround you with good people.
Wow. I like that answer. I'll tell you why I like that answer that Deja just gave, because I think that is actually one of the mistakes I believe that we continue to make around the world, is that we keep thinking that a leader should look a certain way, sound a certain way, be in a certain place. And we need to understand that anyone can be a leader. And we just have to give them an opportunity to lead from the space that they're most familiar with. And so thank you, Deja, for that answer. That was beautiful.
Yeah, we're all nodding profusely over here.
I know, that was good. I love it. All right, what's that next question?
Yeah. If we don't create real change, where do you see this world being in 10 years?
All right, Amani, you ready for that one? If we don't create real change, where will the world be in 10 years?
If we don't create a change, the world will be more hurt, more pain, more anger, less people wanting to heal from within, get to the root of the cause, and not communicating to people how they want to be loved, how they want to be communicated, and being vulnerable. And not being vulnerable is how I see the world.
Wow. Oh my goodness, I'm just loving them even more and more. Thank you so much for having us on this platform, Georgia. That was such a good answer, Amani. I want to bring a little bit of context to that. Next year, Ferguson will be 10 years. It's been 10 years since Michael Brown was shot and killed in the streets. And I just want you to just think about it for a minute. How far have we moved that needle? what changes have we really made in the last 10 years, socially and politically and racially? Are we getting better? Are we moving in the right direction? We had 10 years to get it right. Then there was George Floyd. We've had 10 years to get it right. So to Amani's point, those things will continue to be a problem. And I think we're running out of time. So good question. All right. The last question is for Joseph.
Beautiful. And thank you so much. Something. So I feel you completely. Sometimes it is hard to get older / other people to understand the problems in the world. What can we do to overcome those challenges?
Ooh.
I truly believe that if wiser people, I don't necessarily want to say older, but wiser people, if they would kind of self-reflect and really hone in on, at one point in time, I was the youth. And at one point in time, I was the less wiser person. At one point in time, I was the less guided person. It will open so many doors where they can kind of open up their patience a little bit more, open up their understanding a little bit more to understand, at some point, I was in this exact same place that this person was in. I think the older we get, the more we feel as if, the less learning we have to do and the less understanding we have to be the older we become. But I truly believe that, development is always in process, and it should always be in process no matter your age. So, I think if people were to kind of put themselves in their younger shoes sometimes, we may be able to bridge that gap a lot better.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Wow. Well, there you have it. We've heard from the youth. And I think, again, an amazing answer. I could just leave it at what they said, but I do want to say this, being an ambassador and an advocate for the youth. One of the things that I believe all of us can do, those who are over 40 years old and up, I'm 52. I'm not, and I'm okay with saying that because this is what I feel like we need to do. If you are 40 and up, you need to have a mentor that is 39 and under. And if you are a younger person, you need to have a mentor that's 40 and up. We can't keep looking at the only person can mentor is the seasoned individuals in age. The world is moving so fast and it's being created by our younger people. They're the ones that's really creating a lot of these things and devices we're using today. We need young mentors. So let's normalize that today. Let's normalize that right now. For World Unity Week, Dr. Marty said it here first. We, 40 and up, find you a mentor that's 39 and below.
Yes. And so now, Marty, with that being said, we have one last group of people to turn to, I believe.
Yes.
Ben, do you want to introduce the third group?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I want some of those youth mentors. These are absolutely amazing.
I have two great options for you, Ben.
Thank you. And I agree with you, Georgia. We could have a whole week dedicated to the voices that we've heard today, the amazing youth in St. Louis and there in Los Angeles as well. It's been really enlightening and uplifting and inspiring and educational, actually, just to hear some of the wisdom and some of the grace that's been shared today by these young leaders. This is wow, absolutely beyond even our best expectations. So thank you so much to everyone who shared so far. We're going to bring in our dear friend from Pathways to Peace, Tezekiah Gabriel, who's got another bunch of amazing young leaders here willing to share. So let's get Tez in here, and we're going to hear from some of the extraordinary youth leaders from Pathways to Peace.
Yes, thank you. And just let me say, oh my goodness, my heart is so full. And to all of our next generation peace builders who've already spoken, you are champions. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to try to talk as little as possible so that I can give our 4 youth that we have with us today more time to tell their stories, but I will introduce them. So I'm Teskaya Gabriel. I am the executive director from Pathways to Peace, and Pathways to Peace is a UN peace messenger organization. So we work at the UN and beyond.
Right. We are here and we are live and we are back. And you can't stop the youth. Nothing will stop the youth rising with this New Earth Rising. My name is Ben Bowler from Unity Earth. This is World Unity Week. It's day 2 of World Unity Week. It's day 2 of the 99 days of peace through unity. And today it's all about empowerment. And we have had just the most extraordinary sharings from youth leaders from Los Angeles, from St. Louis. And we are halfway through our program today. This is part 2. So I want to acknowledge and honor Dr. Marty K. Casey in St. Louis and Georgia and the amazing young leaders you've got there in LA. And Tezekaya, let's get into Pathways to Peace. Has got a whole program for youth leadership.
Yes.
You've got some of your amazing youth leaders here today.
Yes, and so I'm going to introduce Garrett Nolan. Wave your hand, Garrett. Garrett has been with Pathways to Peace for, I think, 3 years, but he has also served for 2 years on our Pathways to Peace Governing Council. So it's the highest level of decision making. And all of these youth have been present at the UN. All of them have presented at the UN numerous times. So, and I'll let them tell you more about that later. And then my beloved Emma can raise her hands. And Emma and I have worked together for, Emma, I think it's close to 5 years. Am I right about that?
It's pushing 6. I've known you
goodness.
since my 7th grade year in grammar school. Yes.
And Emma, I can tell you that Emma, I'm sure was experiencing some anxiety because she is a techie extraordinaire. So she does a lot of our technical work. She creates videos. She can tell you a lot more about that, but she's also on our Pathways to Peace social media team. And then I have Catherine Boak. Catherine? Yes. Catherine has been presenting at the UN and at UN conferences for 2 years, but we've actually been knowing and go ahead, Catherine.
All right, about 3 years now.
3 years. I can't keep track anymore. And she is an amazing presenter. And when our youth present at the UN and at UN conferences, they lead their own planning and their own presentations. So they're amazing presenters. And that's true of Abby O'Sullivan as well. Abby, please. Where are you? I don't see you. There you are. And Abby, I think you've been presenting for 2 years now. Am I right, or is it 3?
It's 3 since my freshman year.
Okay, thank you. Yes, time kind of stood still through the pandemic. And so I want each of them to tell a little bit about their own story. And in addition to being at the UN, they're each doing peace building work in their own lives, within their schools, with their peers. And they provide, even though it may be informal, they are mentors to other young people. So Garrett, do you want to begin?
Yes, please. Okay, so first of all, before we start off, happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the audience here tonight. So I'm Garrett Nolan. I'm going to be 17 next week. I've been working with Pathways in one way or another since my freshman year. I first got involved with this actually in 8th grade I was talking with a man named Mr. George Anthony, who works at Pathways to Peace. He's one of their UN reps. And through his program, Emerging Global Leaders, he took us to the 2019, it was still my 8th grade year, the 2019 International Day of Peace ceremony. And I knew from that trip that this was something I needed to be a part of. So in my freshman year, after reading some of my writings in the peace subject, I had received the text that I had the honor of being chosen to be on the board of directors for Pathways to Peace. Now, this would have been an honor for anyone, but you could imagine October of my freshman year, I was amazed that I had been chosen. But it's a great opportunity, and I'm glad to do it. I also like to get involved in theater, and I'd like to major in history. So thank you.
Garrett, I'm going to tell something on you. And that is that when you and I first met, you said you had a dream for your life. And I said, we can do that. Do you remember what that was?
Yes, it was the U.S. ambassador to Ireland. Yes. I'm Irish.
And talk more, yeah, because
I'm here. Well, you know, I've always wanted to visit the land of my ancestors, and I know that may sound corny or cliche, but it's true. I've always wanted to go to Ireland. I love the culture, and I love the history of the island. So by working with this through the United Nations Pathways to Peace, I realized that I could possibly have a step to be ambassador to Ireland. Because being an ambassador, if you do it properly, is also a job of peace building. So that's one of my branches.
We're going to do that.
Thank you.
We're going to do that. And so thank you for raising. I had written George's name down here to honor him because none of you would be here if it wasn't for Mr. George Anthony. And so he ran the Global Leaders Institute, which and taught in the peace building in the classroom. And so because George is our primary representative to the UN for Pathways to Peace, it provided a leadership track for our youth to come through that peace building training and mentorship and to become representatives at the UN and beyond. So Emma.
Oh, I got to make sure I talk quick to let Catherine and Abby go as well. So my name is Emma DBH. I am 18 years old now. I just graduated Red Bank Catholic High School in New Jersey, and now I will be going to the Catholic University of America in the fall, where I will be majoring in politics and minor in education. I will explain why in a second. I want to say how I know Tez. I know Tez since I was in 7th grade. I've known Mr. Anthony since I was in 7th grade, and that's when I really wanted to do peace work and continue what I am doing. So I have to go through one thing. Yes, I am a techie. Tech is my life. I know tech like it's the back of my hand. I have my wonderful parents to thank for that because they taught me all they know. I was brought on with Tez when in 7th grade. I helped her with a flash drive and a little link in a little church next to the UN for a presentation. And from there, I became the part of social media for their team. And I also helped out with anything that they need as far as technology related. So I have Mr. Anthony and Tez to thank for that. I am also the Exceptional Young Women of Peace Award winner for 2022 for my work in leadership. Catherine Vogt, who is also here, was a recipient and was in the running as well. But just with everything going on, it's been a blessing to be in peace leadership. So what I really want to do in life, like Garrett said, it may sound corny, it may sound weird. I want to become the president of the United States. I want to become the first female president of the United States. And that's where my politics major comes in. I want to minor in education because, especially special education. So you might not know, as Tess says, I do suffer with anxiety. I have anxiety, I have ADHD, I have dyslexia, and that's some of the things that I have. But there's kids all over the world, kids in the United States that don't get a fair education. And that to me is just a slap in the face, not right to me. My school education life has not been the smoothest, I will tell you. from being doubted, from being saying, oh, since you have a disability, you don't deserve to be in the smart classes. It is just something that tears you down. But I fought through that, and I've been a voice for other kids who don't have that experience. As a student ambassador, I explain to parents with children with special needs that they are able to do anything that they've set their mind to, even if everybody else is pushing them down, because that is just who we are. We are driving forces of nature. We all have fight in ourselves. Even if we have bad fight, good fight, we can always turn that bad fight into the good fight, into fighting for what is right, into fighting for what is true to ourselves. And before I turn the camera over, I would like to say one thing that I've been saying since I was 10 and I've wanted to do this, and that everyone I feel like needs to enforce in themselves. Be the force that inspires change. Be the change that makes a difference, because all it takes is one voice to change the world. All right.
Yay, Emma. Thank you. Thank you. And Catherine.
Well, hopefully we'll see you on the campaign trail in a couple decades, Emma. That'd be
2040 is when I
where
turn
our
35. 2040 is when I turn 35, and my name will be on the ballot.
There you go.
Hi everyone. My name's Catherine Volk. We're doing ages. I'm 17 years old, and I have just finished my junior year in high school. So as Tess said earlier, I've been a part of Pathways to Peace for now 3 years, and I've gotten some really great opportunities through them. Just to preface this, a lot of my work tends to be with educating young people younger than me, children, especially with girls and female empowerment. Growing up, I really didn't have any strong male influences in my life. I joke around that Garrett's actually the first guy friend that I had. And family-wise, I didn't have any strong figures like that. And I actually didn't have a male teacher till high school. So growing up, I was always surrounded by women and raised by women and in girl-led environments. So that has really inspired me in my work I do today. So with Pathways to Peace, I've had the amazing opportunity to speak at the United Nations Youth International Day of Peace 2 years ago, where I spoke about the importance of educating children in order to save our future. I think a lot of times when we speak about, the next generation, we tend to talk about us, Gen Z, teenagers, young 20s, but we forget that in order to create long-lasting change, we need to start at the lowest level, start at kindergarten, first grade, teaching kids about racism, sexism, climate change, all these horrible things that exist in our world if we are to truly improve and change them. And with that, I also got the opportunity to present with Abby last year at the Commission on the Status of Women, where we presented a program on the domestic burden of girls and their impact and its impact on higher education. So me and Abby are both the oldest girls in our family. So we experienced that and the expectation placed on girls, and we want to share it. So that's another opportunity I'm very grateful for, Pathways to Peace. And currently I'm working on my own project called Girls Going Global, which has the goal of educating girls ages 5 to 18. It's a multi-age program on their global community and global issues and showing them how they can get involved in their world. Which, although it's my personal project, I really have been supported through Pathways to Peace, and by Tess especially, who agreed to answer a lot of my questions for it. And I just want to highlight Tess for a second, who has served as such a phenomenal and inspirational, female mentor to me, and I know everyone else in this chat right now. So thank you for that. And I'm very excited to keep working with Pathways to Peace. So I'll turn it over to Abby.
Perfect. Abby.
Hi. I'm Abby O'Sullivan, and I'm 17, and I just finished my junior year at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. I got started with peace building within Mr. Anthony's class. The class was at Modern Day Prep. I toured Modern Day in 8th grade, and his class was the main reason I attended the school, was because I fell in love with his class when I shadowed, which was I followed around a student already there to see if I would like the school and if I would fit in. And I fell in love with his class, and I took it both my freshman and sophomore year, opening up so many different possibilities and options and things I was able to do. Like
like Catherine said, I had the opportunity to present at Commission Status of Women 66, which is still one of my favorite things I was ever able to do. And I was really sad this year when I didn't have the time to do it, which is one of my goals next year is to do it again, because it was such a phenomenal experience. And I'd love to do it in person. As in 2022, it was on Zoom as COVID was still lingering. I've also I also filmed many videos for different meetings, different presentations. And as a class, one of our things was that we would often make videos where we'd all speak about something important to us. My topic often was LGBTQ plus inclusivity, as that's something that I've always found is very important and is very near and dear to my heart.
Yes. So you can, I mean, my heart is bursting. I just am so proud of all of our next generation peace builders. And at Pathways to Peace, I always say, all we have to do is provide the platform. And they come in and demonstrate their incredible leadership, their incredible wisdom. And so I am blessed every day. And so I also want to mention that along with Garrett, Mia Rodriguez, who was supposed to be here tonight but couldn't make it, is our other Pathways to Peace Council member. So Mia came in with Garrett at the same time. And so we are so blessed with their leadership at that level of our organization.
I also want to mention one thing. Myself,
Yes.
Abby, Garrett, and Catherine, we were all in the same Mr. George Anthony's Emerging Global Leadership class, as the three of them were sophomores and myself as a junior. We all want to thank Modern Day Prep for doing that, which did recently close. So that's why we're all saying different schools. So you're thinking like, why they're all in the same class? Why? And you go to this school, you go to this school. Hold on, something doesn't add up. We did all attend the same school at one point. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Emma. And we're hoping to replicate the Global Leaders Institute in another school.
Yes,
Georgia
we're
and I
already
are
doing that with
looking
our
at that.
Red Bank Catholic,
That's
where I
right.
am at, and where Garrett is also.
Isn't quite there, but it's coming. So
It's coming soon.
Thank you to all of you. And I know if we do cross dialogue that you'll have great wisdom to share. So I'm going to turn it back to you, Ben, to take us where we next need to go.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Yes, Tez, as you said, the heart is full. Just what extraordinary, eloquent, devoted, dedicated, and brilliant youth leaders that we have here. Thank you, Emma, Abby, Garrett, and Catherine. And I love the aspirations as well. You guys are just getting started. Imagine what's possible down the track with the leadership positions you're going to be in. It's extraordinary. Thank you, Tez. And congratulations to you and David and everyone from David Wick and everyone from Pathways to Peace for really leaning into the mentorship of the next generation. This is what this program is all about. And, it's been amazing being in LA with Anne and Cruz and obviously Georgia. It's just fantastic sharing. I'm going to go back and watch part one again, Marty, and to see your incredible youth there that have assembled at your home in St. Louis this Father's Day to share their stories, some painful ones as well. And, one of the things that we learn and we hold dear is that the herd of one is the herd of all. And we can't be, racing ahead if we're leaving people behind. That's not going to work. So we had some unfortunate things happen in the chat a little bit earlier, Marty, and we want to address that. The troublemaker got in and was saying racist slurs. They had named themselves as me and were making racist comments in the chat, which we don't want to race over that. So they've been removed and they've been taken out, but that's not the end of the story. So Marty, take us into, in terms of how can we address this? It's such a thorny issue when this happens. How can we best address this?
Yeah, but first of all, Ben, I want to just applaud you for your leadership in circling back around to give an opportunity for us to have a voice of healing, if you will, because unfortunately for some, it is easy to just keep moving and keep going and continue on the journey. But for others, it's the very space where we get stopped. And it is, we apologize 1 second.
That's all right. It's Father's Day there in Marty's house.
Yeah, we have a house full. And because we really wanted to be here today and lend a voice of truth and a voice of honesty. And honestly, right now, I'm triggered. I'm triggered because as an advocate for the youth, as a global peace ambassador, it's my job to make sure that I bring them to safe spaces. And when I bring them here and they can clearly see these things going across the chat, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. And then I'm waiting to see who would speak to it. And we continue to roll past it. It reminds me of being in the real world. We're all leaders here right now. I'm preaching to the choir. And so what I want to just challenge everyone in this moment, allow it to be a lesson learned, that when this happens in the real world, as well as on Zoom, in any space that you may be in, bring it all to a halt. Stop and acknowledge it. Stop and check in on everybody and anyone who may be offended by it. I couldn't even enjoy these beautiful youth from the UN and their stories because I was stuck in my own hurt and pain. And I'm worried about those who were here with me. And it's unfair to you that I didn't get to enjoy and embrace all of the awesome and wonderful things that you are doing in the world and how you're showing up. Because as Emma spoke, I want to quote you, Emma. You stated, all it takes is one voice to change the world. And I agree. And all it takes is one voice to bring the world down. And that's what just happened here today. That one voice rang loudly in our ears. And everything that we attempted to try to come here and do today tells me that we are still behind the 8 ball. I have two 23-year-olds. One happened to be a Black man. Every day he walks in fear. And I asked each of them when they saw this, how did you feel? Were you surprised? And each and every last one of them said no. But we're surprised because this is supposed to be a safe space, that they didn't say anything. And so on behalf of my youth here today, I wanted to convey their words and their hearts, that if we're really going to do this work, we got to do it right. We got to get it right, Ben. We got to get it right, Tez. We got to get it right, Georgia. You sitting next to a young man came from Uganda, Africa. This doesn't represent who America is and what we can be. And we have to protect you as well. We have to protect all of our youth. And if there's any youth that can protect the other youth, it's those who are sitting, Tez, with you every day. So I want to ask a question to your leaders who are being represented by the UN. Moving forward, I would like each of you all to tell me how you will protect and stand up for those who may not look like you, may not share the same privileges. But if I can ask you in a moment that you experience this again, what might you do differently? I would like to propose that to your youth at this time, Tez, if that is okay with you. And that is how we evoke change.
Dr. Marty, I would actually like to answer that, because that does hit close to home. Even though, yes, not the same color skin, not the same age, it hits close to home. When I was younger, I was bullied a lot because of my special needs. I was looked at one way. They thought that, oh, this kid is different. This kid is not everybody. All right, move on. It is not the same. And yes, all it does take is one voice to change the world. And there's so many good things that can happen that can just go downhill in a second. So yes, we do need leaders. We do need youth leaders to take all the positivity in the world and just embellish it. And take the negativity and use that negativity as the driving force of the positive. It is what we need in order to speak out. I've stood up for kids who didn't have a voice. I've stood up for kids. I've stood up for adults who think that in their own minds that they are right, even though in our world it's not. But I still stand up for them because they are human. We are all human. We make mistakes. We mess up. In my faith, I'm Catholic, we sin. We do everything because we are human. We have free will. Doesn't matter if we think we're the best perfect person in the world, think everybody's above us. They're at the same level we are. And that is something that we all have to remember. We're all human. I am far from perfect. People say I'm perfect in different ways with leadership, and I'm like, I'm not perfect. I'm far from it. I make mistakes, and I will admit my mistakes. But we all need to admit our mistakes. And when what happened in the chat before, I wanted to apologize. I wanted to apologize on behalf of Pathways and behalf of World Unity Week. I wanted to apologize because the people in this room matter. Everyone matters. And I felt because of the way that I am, I didn't think about how it felt for me. I thought how it felt for everyone. I don't think about myself. I think about how it felt for you, Dr. Marty. I think about how it felt for you, Cruz. I think about how it felt for everyone. Because thinking about others before yourself is who I am. And that's how I see it. The person that did that, he's a human. Yes, what he did was wrong, correct. But I can't hold him against that because he's a human being. And all human beings, we all make mistakes. And those mistakes, they can be the driving force of what we can do in our world today. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for your response.
Dr. Marty, can I jump in quickly because we have a timing constraint on Cruz being here, and I feel it's really important that he gets to speak before he heads out. So I'm sorry, Emma, thank you for your beautiful share. And I want to value everybody. I just want to make sure because his mom is waiting for him in the car to go home and help his other mom do some stuff. So he's being a wonderful man in our community today. So Cruz, is there anything that you want to share in relation to what happened in the chat? And we are here to listen and witness that for you.
First off, when I saw it, I was just like, what? I just really wondered why you would even do such a thing. Like, you don't gain anything from it. Nothing. You don't gain anything positive out of it. I just really wondered what happened and why you would even do that. Like, it just didn't make any sense. And I really wonder and feel for that person, because what is going on through their head? Perhaps someone traumatized them or someone hurt them, and they are trying to let that steam off on somebody else, which relates to hurt people, heal people, heal people. Perhaps he was hurt and he feels the need to hurt other people, or he just never got that affection, or something similar happened to him and he feels like he wants people to understand how it felt when it happened to him, and he's definitely doing it in the wrong way. So just don't do that. Don't be like that guy. But I don't really have words right now. It takes me a while to fully process things like deep down and deconstruct it. But just think before you speak. To be honest.
Thank you. You touched on so many elements of this. I think the most important thing is we also need to understand that this takes time, that feelings take time. And when we turn to people later and say, why couldn't you say it in the moment? Like, you didn't say that. Like, trauma silences us. There's a part of fade and freeze that happens for so many of our young people. We need to give them the space and the safe space and the time to find their words and be ready to listen and hear when they're ready, not when we want them to talk. So I want to celebrate you for talking so fast in this
still
time.
want to continue on that too. Like, just to deconstruct it even more, you know, I don't know how old he is or anything related to him, but if he says such hurtful things, he's heard hurtful things, which relates back to positivity and negativity. He's heard some negative things and it is consuming him. So perhaps the people that interacted with him earlier on said positive things to him. He could have come in the chat and said something positive that would empower other people, which means it all leads back to the first thing. Everything is a chain in this world, and one chain snaps. You know, if we go for an eye for an eye, it takes one person to just say enough. You know, like if you took my eye and she takes my eye and then somebody's going to come take your eye, it takes one person to say enough, stop, right? The whole world would be blind, but it takes someone to realize the issue and stop and be the bigger person. But
well, that's the perfect segue for stop, breathe, and think. Yeah. I think that's something that we all could learn from. That is a tool that we use here at Ungun. And it is simply to just take a moment to pause. Thank you so much, Cruz, for your amazing words and speaking that. You guys as youth leaders, you are amazing and you will continue to do amazing work. And I agree with Georgia. Trauma response happens differently for all of us, but as leaders in this space, we have to, when we see something, say something. When we hear something, check in on those who it may have landed on. It may not mean anything to you, but it could mean something to someone else. And as leaders, we have to start practicing that. I'm never going to be in a space and hear something that's offensive and not stop, breathe, think, and then ask, is everybody okay? That's how we have to deal with our trauma if we want to continue to lead and get to a place of peace. Can there be peace on earth? Absolutely. But it starts with you and how you respond to others.
That's right. And I just want to add, first of all, thank you, Dr. Marty. I think this is exactly what needed to happen, right? You know, this was a rich teaching for all of us. And I loved what our youth had to say, which comes out of that place of recognizing we are all one and having compassion about that, and yet leading from a place, as you've encouraged us, to stand in our own power and speak our own truth, right? That's exactly what we need to be doing. So I think this was perfect. So thank you for calling. I was so engrossed in the conversation, I didn't even know it was happening in the chat. And so, but I'm so grateful now that it did, so that we could have this time and this teaching and give our next gen peace builders the opportunity to speak as well. So thank you for all the wisdom here. I am blessed and graced by it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tess.
Yeah.
Ben, we have technically 5 minutes left. There were things we had planned. I feel like obviously when things happen, like you said, Marty, that changes the picture you have of what is coming forward. So I want to make sure that how we use the last 5 minutes is in service of this moment and in service of everybody, especially our young people. I can make suggestions, but I'd rather take guidance if that is
we
where you want to
don't
go.
have a program coming up after this, Georgia. So if it takes a little bit longer, that's okay. If people need to go, of course, then that's understood. But we may not have such a hard ending. So we have a little bit longer if we want to keep, exploring this and anything else you may want to do and it's been an amazing session. Our intention, just to put it out there, was to have a rich experience into Zoom. Obviously, this is a broadcast. What gets broadcast out, nobody sees the chat, obviously, but we're wanting to create a an experience in the Zoom room where people can interrelate. We had one earlier today. See, we wanted to do this as a meeting, not a webinar, so that people could turn the video on, they could be seen, they could connect, they could chat. It's a much more intimate experience than just watching a video. So that's why we had, these settings set up the way it does. And it's just such a shame, these troublemakers, and one of them happened earlier today with the video of inappropriate, obscene images on video. And, when I actually caught a glimpse of them, and they were like 17 years old, 18 years old, just laughing. I mean, it's just mischief making. People got nothing better to do, and they think that it's fun to come in and to disrupt. So on one hand, it's like, well, do you give them that they disrupt the whole thing, or how do we approach it? It's a really delicate one. So it's great that we're able to have this open conversation and hear these different perspectives, Marty. It's really, really important. But we won't have that functionality on for the rest of the week. No one will have their video on. No one will be able to chat. No one will be able to do the group chat. No one will be able to do any of it as a result of this mischief making. So that's a shame. But we need to obviously make tough decisions in order to create spaces that you say, Marty, are safe. But I just wanted you to know it wasn't through being lax. It was just an intention that people could have a more rich and a more engaged experience. But we're not going to be able to do that the way we wanted to do it because of literally a couple of troublemakers. So I want to apologize for the impact that it's had on your group there in your family home and Father's Day, Marty, to the beautiful speakers, amazing young leaders. That shouldn't happen. That can't happen, and it won't happen again. And I'm sorry about that. And we do hope that we can find a way to turn, as the youth leaders have shown us, to turn this negative into something that's instructive and educational and positive for all of us, for healing as we go forward. So I want to thank you and thank everyone for your wisdom. It is amazing. I think what we have done here is demonstrated the wisdom of these beautiful and amazing young leaders. I've certainly eyes open, heart open from the experience. So in that sense, it's been incredibly important. Marty, is there anything from your side? Anyone else what do you want to do next?
I think we need to go on with the program. We can't end it like this. We got to end it on a good note. And I think George and I have some really good news to announce, that, and we have to go forth with that. Georgia, I agree with Tez. This had to happen. Evidently, this was something that needed to happen. And
That's
this
right.
is the testing of good leadership. And our youth have experienced this on a level today that they know what to do now moving forward. So Georgia, take it away. We can't let anybody disrupt what has been planned from the heart.
And let me just say that this is real life for our youth. And so, what we got out of this, I'll just say again, is just the brilliant teaching and the allowance of our youth to share their wisdom around what is real in their lives every day. And so I'm just grateful for it. It was meant to be. Yeah. So go ahead, Georgia.
Yeah, I echo that in every way. Just because it doesn't feel good, it doesn't mean it's not good for us in the end when we embrace it. And I just want to, obviously, we want to move forward in positive action, but I also want to call out that if anybody else does need closure on this moment, if, I get to talk to Annie later and have that closure, but I want to make sure that everyone knows within this space that if you need closure, let's create that, whether it's with someone you trust or mentor or Marty, there is somebody that can create that closure for you and talk about how it felt for you. But also then let's create something positive from it. And part of that is Marty and I were talking about two things. So I'm going to go quickly into one first. We believe that we have these young people here today who can put a pledge out and a charge out to other young people. What can our young people commit to doing that will create the change that we've been talking about? I think there's so many pieces of inspiration that we've even seen in this last hour and a half that could inspire those ideas. We wanted to list out 3 things that all young people everywhere could do that will create this change that we're talking about, that when we talk about what will happen in 10 years if we don't create change, let's not go there. Let's create the change. And as part of that, we have to have our commitments. We have to have things that we commit to, that we can, Marty and I were imagining a world in which our young people can say, are you one of the kids that is taking that pledge? Are you, and is able to identify each other in a group, create a website, create a place where those kids have taken that pledge, and they know when they go to that town and there's a person that's taken the pledge, that's a person that sees them, hears them, and knows that they've made the same commitments. So we want to ask our young people now, if we have enough time, and then I want to also make sure that we make a bit of a charge out to our older kids in this group chat today. And Marty and I will speak to that in a second, but let's do a lightning round with our young people to be mindful of people's time, but also use that little bit of extra time we have. 3 things that you think all young people could commit to that would mean we never have to ask in 10 years' time, what will our world look like?
If it's all right with everyone, I'd like to start on this.
Great.
So the first thing for me is, obviously, for a lot of people in certain countries, this is not accessible, but if you are able to vote, it is a very simple thing. Most of the time, it is something you can do that ensures that your voice gets heard and you're able to help take action. That a lot of people, activism and other type of long-term projects are not accessible for various reasons, but I encourage everyone, if they are able to go out and vote. Other things is things just online, sign petitions, see if you can attend Zoom meetings like this, see if there are ways that you can accessibly be involved in your local, global, national community in ways like that. And I think the third one is talk to people. Talk to people talk to your friends, your family, people who you may not necessarily get along with, and try to learn about other people's view on the world and how their experiences have shaped them, because you will learn a lot just by talking to someone and trying to have a conversation about your different, whether it be different values, different backgrounds, anything like that. I can't tell you how much I have learned from just talking to people and sharing our experiences, and how that helps me today with everything I'm doing in leadership and whatnot.
Thank you so much, Catherine. What I'm doing is I'm writing everything down, and what we might do is find a place of unity, so to speak, for 3 of these points that we can condense into 3. Is that okay with everybody? So that if that works. So who else would like to throw something into this conversation?
I would like to piggyback off of Catherine. I was going to say, be willing to learn about literally anything in the world. Like, it could be the smallest thing, but just be willing to learn and to share with others what you learn, so people are educated. And hopefully it's like a domino effect where they tell someone else and they tell someone else. And before you know it, everyone's going to be educated and understand everything.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I'd like to add on to that.
Emma.
So one of the 3 things that I was thinking is just to go up to someone and start a conversation. Could be a random person, could be anyone, because then you're showing them positivity in their life, saying hi to them. How are you doing? What is going on with your day? Just simple acts of kindness like that. It's like what Anais and Catherine said, paying it forward. Pay it forward to someone. The second thing, also piggybacking on what everybody said, education. We need to be well-rounded in what we learn. We need to be well-rounded in what we hear. Having a classroom, being that safe space for us, going to teachers, saying that this teacher is someone that you can talk to, and that teacher won't go and talk to other kids or other teachers about you. You can talk to them and be okay with them, like they are a therapist, but they're really just a teacher. And the third thing is just connecting with people all around the world. It doesn't have to be right in your home state, in your hometown, in your country. It could be somewhere else. Just connect with them, because there might be someone across the world that's going through the same thing you are doing. And they don't know that there's another person out there like them. So just connecting with someone is, I think, a crucial thing in life to do.
Beautiful. Thank you, Emma.
I would necessarily say that I have absolutely three, but I will say being able to share or barter, if you will, your gifts. Being able to keeping in mind that you're also able to offer something other than, only receiving. Whether that's a conversation, whether that is, sharing something or passing something along to the next person. Just being more so open to, more so giving something out than only receiving only keeping in mind what you will receive in the end goal. Yeah.
Beautiful. Anyone else? Who else?
I know I'm not the youth. Maybe this is just for the youth, Georgia, but I have to say this. The medicine that's inside of you automatically heals you, and you're born with your medicine. It's your gifts and talents. Really understanding and identifying what your gifts and talents are in the arts is really going to be the medicine that you can take every day to heal, but also heal the world. So always use your gifts and talents and be willing to offer that to the world. I was a singer before I was anything. And if it was not for singing, I don't know if I would have ever became a speaker. I had to get familiar with the mic, and it was started off with singing. And I want to Deja's not asking to say anything, but Deja told you she was shot 5 times. But her daughter's still alive, and you're going to get a chance to meet her daughter. But Deja, I'm going to ask you to sing just a little bit, because music also saved Deja. Can you give us just a little bit of
Yes, I can.
A change is going to come? And Joseph, if you feel like coming in with it or whatever, come on in with it. Just a little.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come.
Oh, yes, it is. Go ahead, Joseph.
It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come.
Oh, yes, it is. They said it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, and I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it is.
Woohoo! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Beautiful.
There's no words now, just feelings.
Well, let me ask, Garrett, do you want to add your 1, 2, or 3 things to the list?
Yes, please. So to me, it's less of 3 and more of 1 sort of golden rule, I guess you could say. Forgive me, I don't remember who said this quote, but most conflicts in life most of the challenges we face between two groups of people or two people are caused by a lack of understanding. Now, this understanding could be about any matter. It could be understanding where the person learned, stuff like that. And it could also be a lack of understanding of what the other person's going through. You know, hate is taught. You're not born with hate in your heart. And what I think we saw tonight was just someone who needs help. And I hope they get the help they deserve. Thank you.
We have one more test.
Good.
And I just have one thing. I want to say that forgiveness is key. It's something that I feel like we are struggling with on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it's that quote, right? That holding on to something and not forgiving is like taking poison and expecting your enemy to die. I mean, it hurts us. That's what it's about. It's about loving ourselves enough to forgive. So, yeah, you're amazing. And so I have a suggestion. That this could actually become that commitment that you dreamt. We could create a website. We could get it out to other youth to change and add to and make that commitment. And I say, let's just do it because we can, right?
Yeah. That was our vision. Is exactly when I was going for that walk, talking to Dr. Marty, we said, let's create this and let's share it with everyone so that our young people know that there are other young people supporting them in their commitment, that there's a place for them to go where they all believe and share, like we talked about, the power of me too, the power of I also is so strong. And we talked about groups, when many people do this, many young people, things change. So I think yes, and to this, and we will take it from this week onwards. Once everybody's finished sharing in the magic of this week, we will create this. That's our commitment to you all, that we will create this and help you create it with us. We will create the platform. You will create the magic. That's how we do this in my life anyway. So let's go forward with that. Before we finish, I want to lift up. Dr. Marty is taking a step. We paint murals across LA to spread positive messages, and Dr. Marty is putting billboards out across St. Louis to remind young people to stop, breathe, and think. And we have one that we can share, an image of that I had the team in Vancouver lined up to show us. And we wanted to say out, and Dr. Marty, I'll let you speak to it in a second, but I really want to start this by being your press and speaking for you, about you and how amazing you are, and say that this can go across America. The pledge of Stop, Breathe, Think needs to be echoed across America because that's how we start to create change. And so we want to say to anyone that's in the chat and any folks out there that have the ability to make access to a billboard, whether it's digital, whether it's, real life, a lot of us have people, we know people that might just be able to do that. And these billboards are an important reminder. So we wanted to now ask our older folks in the chat, those, if we're defining it as above 40, I'm not sure what we are, but if you know somebody who might be able to put Stop, Breathe, Think in your streets, in your city, we want to hear from you. Because the more people that stop, breathe, and think, let our amygdalas calm down and our prefrontal cortexes come back online, there's so many more moments of change and clear thinking and love and kindness will happen. So Dr. Marty, please share very quickly about what this has come to mean for you. And while you're listening out there, I want to hear from you about your billboard.
Wow. Well, first of all, if you can see here on the billboard, you see the cityscape of St. Louis. And what I'm excited about this is that we are able to, if there's anyone out there, let's say it's in New York, Chicago, California, wherever, your cityscape will actually be behind the Stop Breathing thing. And we already have that commitment to be done. So it won't be St. Louis behind there, but it'll be wherever your city is, that will be behind the Stop Breathing thing. So we're excited about that. But we have 24 billboards that have gone up 3 days ago, and the excitement and the what has happened has transpired. I mean, it's good news spreading is what it is. It's good news spreading. We spread the bad news spread so quickly. I never knew that good news could. And so to experience that right now, this really makes me happy. I'm happy that it's from, my own personal creation, but no matter who this was, I would be all over it, getting behind it if I could, because it's needed. It's so needed. We have experienced collective trauma, you all, across this nation and beyond for too many years now. Now let's experience collective healing. Let's start with this. This is one place we can start. And if we can continue to create and continue to add more messaging, positive messaging. But if we could start here, I would be I would be so appreciative of it. And I'm sure others will be as well. So thank you, Georgia, for your beautiful words and your commitment to even put a billboard up. And we can't wait to get your youth to come here to St. Louis to help us paint a mural on the wall of a building. We already have that building in place. It's a community partner that said, yes, we want it on our wall. So Georgia, we want to make that happen to bring your youth here. And of course, we got to invite Ted's youth to come to be a part of it too. So you guys, we already family starting right now. As of today, we're family. So let's just keep this good news spreading. Let's keep it going. Let's show them what love looks like, but ultimately what it feels like.
Yes. And just for the youth in our room, this project belongs to you. And so, as always, if this has caught fire for you, then I will put all of my effort into making it happen. But it belongs to you. And so just know that, and we'll talk.
This is perfect, Tez and Marty and everybody. We're just starting the 99 days and we've got these missions. So wouldn't it be great with 24 billboards? And Marty rang me the other day. She was out cruising around, like just making sure the billboards were all in place. And I was like, you got 24 billboards. I mean, most people would be like thrilled to get one billboard with their project up in a major city. So that's amazing. And it can spread. As George is saying, we're all saying, Marty, we're with you. Let's make this a 99-day mission to spread the Stop Breathe thing between now and Peace Week. Now, I got a question and I got an invitation for everyone here in the spirit of moving on. And I just love the music, just love the music. That singing.
Change it is a coming.
But here's an invitation to everybody that's here. On Saturday, the 24th of June, we have a closing ceremony for World Unity Week. It's actually, we call it a continuation ceremony because it's the end of the week, but it's really just beginning the 99 days. It's actually day 8. And at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, June 24th, we have a closing ceremony. Now, right now, we haven't allocated who's doing it and who's singing and who's speaking and who's the keynote and all of that stuff. But I want to invite you, the youth leaders here today, if you want to make a commitment to be the curators and co-curators of our World Unity Week closing ceremony, to step in with your gifts and your talents and your messages and your inspirations, to bring your voices and your genius and to lead the way, literally lead the way for our closing ceremony. I want to see who would step into that. Who would be a part of that? We got Joseph, we got Isha, we got Emma, we got a bunch of other people. Come on, Garrett. What about you, Garrett? You got a better offer on Saturday night.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, I'm going to be in New York that day.
That's okay.
I appreciate it, though. Thank you.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
And
I will all do phenomenally. But
what's that?
Oh, I said I'm sure you guys will all do phenomenally, and I can't wait to watch any videos from it. But unfortunately, I am unavailable.
Understand.
Yes.
Totally understand.
Yes.
Totally understand. And thank you for that. And this is, it's late notice, but we want to see, Georgia, get the groups together through the emails. Let's have a meeting sometime this week. Let's plan it. There'll be maybe a couple of people we'll want to highlight and feature, and room stewards and all that kind of stuff. But we would love to have, and sponsors, but we would love to have you guys curate that closing ceremony. I think that'd be perfect, Marty. What do you think?
I'm so excited for them. I don't know what to do. That's so amazing, Ben. That's how you end a program like this one today, on a good note.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Next steps. And so, Emma, if you would be the point person, we'll let some of our other youth that might be available know.
Yes, definitely. And Marty, if you have any press with any stop, breathe, and think post, I could start posting it on our Pathways page and to spread the message to the world. Because
She is the social media
I'm
queen.
part of social media, so I can
Is the
spread that
social
message
media.
out to the world.
And Emma and Catherine, and actually, Abby has as well produced videos.
Yeah.
So
we've done everything with Mr. Anthony.
They've done everything.
So if whatever you need, we can help you. I can help you over the summer before I go off in August to Catholic. So you can email me. I'll put message you my email privately. Georgia, I'll do the same thing for you. If you guys need any help with any tech, any social media stuff, I am willing to help.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you. And yes, and yes.
And we'll be painting a mural next Saturday. So if Annie can be free, no pressure always with our community. There are commitments that they make ahead of time, and I want to honor that. But either way, we'll stream from that mural in South LA. And if Annie can be our live stream broadcaster, she will. But we'll get some young people out there painting again on Saturday.
Love it. Love it. Taking it to the streets, making it happen, taking it to the billboards, bringing it to the grassroots and to the ground. Thank you so much. This has been an awesome program. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Georgia and Annie, and I know Cruz had to go. Thank you, Marty and Joseph and Disha and Tiz. Is it Tim? Tiz? Who's on your right there, Marty?
Oh, Amani. Amani. And then Deja and Joseph are coming to let you all see their children. And so this is the good news when we can just see that healing is being transferred down. This is Joseph.
Look at
Beautiful.
Oh, get that little face closer.
Say hi.
What is their name, Joseph?
Beautiful you are.
Hang on 1 second. I need a closer up for everybody. Who you got there, Joseph?
Say her name, Joseph.
Her name is Nova.
Nova. I have a granddaughter named Nova. I love that name. She's beautiful.
She's paying attention to that.
She's beautiful. So alive.
That beautiful. This is what it's all about. And here comes Damari. Damari will actually be 4 years old on July the 1st.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, Damari.
Oh, so glad you're here.
I love your hair.
Look at you. You're beautiful.
She said thanks.
She knows.
All right. Well, wow, this is amazing. Georgia, thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of this. Anytime, anywhere, sister, it's always a yes for me.
You have my sisterhood all forever. Whether you want it or not, you're stuck now.
And me as well.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
So beautiful to meet you today.
Yes.
What a joy.
Yes. It's all good, all joy.
Thank you.
It's a new earth rising. And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben, for making this possible. Thank you. And Alex, I want to say a big thank you to Alex for coming and filming this and coming literally up the road from Oceanside. It's not a short trip. So I just want to honor you being here with us today as well.
Thank you.
takes a
It was
team.
beautiful. It was beautiful. The whole thing. St. Louis was beautiful. LA was beautiful. The presentations were amazing. The Pathways to Peace, absolutely incredible. So thank you so much, everybody. It was just a delight to be with you. More to come. More to come.